afternoon, good morning, good day, wherever you are. We hope you're having a great one. My name is Rick Zanatti, and today we are joined by the Schreckster herself. It's
Schreckster,
Gina. Today you're the Schreckster. Hey, Gina, how are you?
I'm doing great. It is a beautiful day here in Colorado, and it is election day. So as soon as our show is finished, I'm actually going down to work at the Denver Rescue Mission after this, and then I will vote because I didn't do the early voting.
No, we didn't either. We have to go vote right after the show. We're actually going to go vote. I'm just so glad we can be done for at least one day with ads on TV and phone calls driving you absolutely nuts day and night, and just a nonstop. We gotta limit elections to 3 months.
Exactly.
I mean, there's really no reason to do for 3 years and torture the population.
I approve that message right there.
Yes, Gina has approved that message. Make it so.
Make it so. Yeah, it's crazy. So yeah, I've got my civic duty lined up for today, and it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. I feel like Mr. Rogers.
Yep.
And it's an exciting day because Rebecca, our guest today, Rebecca Radice, even though you want to call it Radice. Yeah, but Rebecca and I connected. I want to say it was on Twitter. It always is on Twitter at first, and she is one that immediately stood out because she shares great content on building social businesses. And then her and I did a Google Hangout together, and I learned that she actually works for Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate and helps those in her company use these social tools to build their business. So we talked about, what are some of the challenges and things. So I'm really excited, and I'd like us to all give a giant welcome to Rebecca. Welcome, Rebecca.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I'm thrilled to be here, Gina.
We're so excited to have you. And again, I'm always saying, I love smart, savvy people that share great content. And it does, you always have, don't you feel like sometimes like a reporter, like when you can snag the good stories and share them quick? You've always got great stuff going out.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. And it was just interesting to hear your role at Better Homes and Gardens, how your job really has been to help educate and, inform the other realtors on how to use social media. Is that kind of your role there right now?
It is. Basically, in a nutshell, I manage all of their corporate social properties. So from a national level, managing all of the content that is going out on those social media sites, as well as their blogs. So a lot of content creation, curation, like you're talking about. But then also that training and that education, which is a huge piece of it. There's definitely an enormous need for education and just a better understanding of how to utilize, whether it's Facebook or Google Plus or any of the tools out there. You mentioned Google Hangouts or Skype like we're using today. Just helping real estate agents understand how they can utilize those tools within their business.
And do you still find that there are, because I know in most small businesses, there's still a resistance to using social media for, a variety of reasons. Are you still seeing that in the real estate industry?
Oh, absolutely. And I think you and I chatted a little bit about that it's certainly been a situation where they have been slow to implement and really understand, kind of wrap their arms around social media and realize what a powerful tool it can be, and that's really been my role is to help them make that shift within their head and really gain a better understanding of how they can market their business with social media.
Yeah, and now what would you say is some of the things that people say they're hesitant to use it? Is it time? Is that the biggest?
Oh, certainly. Yeah, time is always one of the biggest pushbacks that I hear, which is, I've got so much going on. If I'm not in the car, if I'm not meeting face-to-face with a client, then, I'm not getting that transaction closed. I'm not making that next sale. So it's definitely a time suck in their opinion. So that's a education.
Right. And now because you and I have been talking a lot about Facebook, and that tends to be, for a realtor, I would think Twitter and Facebook are probably most used. Is that correct?
Oh, Facebook far and away. I would say Twitter is something that they've been even slower to implement. So definitely Facebook page is really where we spend the majority of our time focusing on how to build their brand through a Facebook page, how to create engagement, how to use that tool, whether they're focused on marketing to consumers, or maybe they're looking at it from more a recruiting standpoint. Whatever their focus, Facebook is definitely the primary resource.
Okay. So when we look at Facebook, lately, frustration is the word that comes to mind as a business on Facebook. It's just so incredibly frustrating. Everything that's gone on with the change in the algorithm and how your pages are viewed, and and you actually just recently wrote a great post. Was it in social media today that I saw it?
No. It was
Examiner.
It was just on my website, actually.
See, I think I saw it.
Oh,
Maybe it was just maybe they had just tweeted it. But still, it was a great article about how to really get more engagement on on your Facebook business page. Can you share with us what those kind of main tips are, or how you do that?
Yeah, absolutely. And it was, I think it was 7 steps to creating engagement or boosting buzz about your page. Right. And it was all about how to get in that news feed of your fan, because unfortunately what happens is, I think there's that mentality of build it and they will come, and it doesn't happen, and then that frustration sets in of nobody's seeing my post, nobody's liking, nobody's sharing, nobody's commenting. So my post was really about how to create that buzz, and a couple of tips, a very simple one, but the top tip that I often give is making sure that you have a consistent strategy, because without that, if you're not consistently posting, your fans are going to lose interest pretty quickly. If you're sporadic and it's kind of that hit or miss strategy, which so many people unfortunately have, because they're just trying to fit social media into their day instead of looking at it as a strategic marketing pillar and really figuring out how they can merge their online and offline strategies. So my first tip is always take a look at how often you can commit to posting, and then make sure that you're consistently posting. If it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, if it's 5 days a week, whatever that looks like. And then secondly, making sure that you know what type of content you're going to be sharing. So who is your audience? Really understanding what their needs are, what kind of content do they want to consume on a daily basis. Too often we make mistakes, which are maybe pushing out content that is more of an interest to us rather than to our fans. So really understanding what their needs are, being consistent in getting that content in front of them. And then there's several different ways that you can really drive that engagement. And when you talk about the frustration and the algorithm changes, one of the big ones, and the big question mark, I guess, for a lot of Facebook administrators that are managing pages on a daily basis, is what type of post drives the most engagement. And what I mean by that is, are you going to get more likes or shares or comments off of a simple post with a link to a blog or to your website? Or are you going to get more engagement off of a photo? So one of those really, images that just captures attention immediately. And it was thought for quite some time that it was images. And now there is this seemingly progression or movement over to a simple text post.
Isn't that crazy? That is what we noticed the last 2 weeks. We've been I always tell our team, no post goes out without a photo. And the photo has to just not be an average photo. It's got to be a great photo. So much effort was put into taking great pictures, finding great pictures. And all of a sudden we've noticed if you put a text-only post on Facebook, it's triple the number of people that see it.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think has changed that all of a
why
sudden?
do you think that is?
What do
I
you
have my theories.
Well, and I think we all have our theories. It's the biggest concern, of course, of so many Facebook admins is we're just mere puppets, and Facebook is pulling those strings. But I would like to believe that all of our hard work that we've put into really cultivating those fans and creating a community, that maybe the needs are changing of those fans. I could certainly see a situation where we are in consumption overload. The amount of images that are shared daily on Facebook has truly become overwhelming.
Yeah.
And so part of me believes that we're shifting to those simple text posts because we have a huge need as human beings to just engage and interact instead of simply being a like, comment, or share.
Well, also what's really interesting is that if you look at the average follower you might have or person that you're connected to, they're connected to 50 other people you may be connected to, and they're all sharing the same exact picture everywhere.
Absolutely.
So we all see the same thing 50 times sometimes.
It's
interesting.
I'm not
that's
sure, and I keep wondering if it has to do with the mobile strategy of, when you're looking at your news feed from a mobile device, you're seeing just the picture, and it pretty much takes up that screen space, that real estate there. So I'm wondering if it has to do with them trying to get more in there and squeeze in ads somewhere, and therefore they're ranking them all of a sudden. It was an all of a sudden 2 weeks ago, a switch turned off, and your pictures will get lower ranking than your text only. So it's very odd. It is the puppet. We're all the Facebook puppets.
Yeah, it is interesting, isn't it? But, I have to say, managing Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate, which certainly Better Homes and Gardens is a lifestyle brand. And so, just like you, I have never posted anything without an image because, they really are that eye candy that our fans are looking for. So it'll be interesting to see if that trend continues as far as just those text posts.
Right. So that's your other tip was, looking at what kind of content to post, whether it's text, photos, polls,
Exactly.
What's another tip?
Well, and with that, I would say the important piece to that is really looking at those Facebook insights. That's another mistake a lot of newbies to Facebook marketing make is not diving into those Facebook analytics that they have right there, right on your Facebook page, and not only understanding what type of posts are resonating with your fans, but also identifying when are your fans online, because if you're posting at 8 a.m. but really the majority of your fans aren't online until maybe noon, you might have to adjust your strategy. And certainly that's the beauty behind social media is we can right that ship rather quickly. But another tip as you start to identify what type of posts are resonating most with your fans is give them more of that. And I think that's another mistake we tend to make as marketers. We think we need to change it up and change it up often. And that's not necessarily the case with Facebook. Our fans have become fans for a reason. They like whatever type of information it is that we're getting out there in front of them. So, as we were just talking about with the images, if those images really work, they keep on doing it, and maybe just tweak your verbiage, tweak exactly what you're saying, shorten up your posts. A lot of times we can tend to get a little verbose as marketers and want to give all the details, the full key to the castle, so to speak, and we have definitely seen that keeping those posts short and sweet with a simple call to action is definitely usually your best way to go.
Yeah.
I think that's where Twitter comes in handy too, because it forces you to think in succinct terms. You only have 140 characters. And so you've got to get your message in a clear way very quickly. And if you can apply some of that same, let's say, criteria to Facebook, probably not a bad way to go.
That's an excellent point, because you're right. There's a lot of times where you'll look at maybe retweeting something that has fabulous content, but it's too long and you've got to shorten it down. Do the same thing with Facebook. Take a look at your post maybe 2 or 3 times before you send that out, and identify, is there somewhere you could shorten that up? Is there a couple of words you could just cut out of there? It's never a bad idea to take a second or third look at those posts. I always find I can tweak it, I can say something a little bit better, I can change up the words to shorten it down. The idea is, like I said, to keep it as short as possible. 80 characters or less are typically going to give you the best results.
Interesting. Wow, that's really short.
It is, when you think about it. I had a post about a week and a half ago go viral, and I think I'm over 161,000 likes on this particular post. And I want to say the call to action was very simple: yay or nay. Do you like this kitchen? It was something, maybe 60 characters. So very, very short, and that really speaks to the idea that you don't have to give a whole lot of information to create engagement.
If you think about it, if you look at the average teenager right now, they communicate everything with about 3 letters. Hey. I used to watch my daughter tweeting, not tweeting, but texting. I was like, hey, hey, hey,
and then
hey,
sup.
hey, hey. I go,
Sup
that's it.
So another 3 letters, SUP, sup.
Sup.
But it is interesting, because those simple call to actions, do you like this kitchen?
Yeah.
Is interesting, because there's no commitment of me having to write a response. I can just click like. I can just click yes. I can respond very quickly and low commitment level. So those are easy. And some people think, but that's not driving people to your website. But it is a strategy of ensuring they will see the next post you put out.
Are there any questions for Rebecca yet in the chat room?
Let's see. Any questions? No? Just listening intently. Yeah.
And it has to be a short question, because otherwise we're going to lose everybody's attention. Short question only.
Short, 80 characters. Write it
That's
out,
right.
80 characters. And short call to action. One thing, it's interesting, because this week that I noticed on one of our pages, and I'm waiting to see it roll out on other pages. On my Getting Geeky page, the get notifications on your business page has appeared.
Nice.
That is interesting, because everyone complains that you get all these people to your Facebook page, you try to get them to engage, but they're still not seeing all your posts. So you can add them to an interest list, and then I don't think most consumers, that's too complicated on how to add a page to their interest list and then look at those interest lists. So this week I thought it was interesting, when you hover over, so let's say you already liked a page, you hover over the like button, and it used to just have a choice to unlike if you wanted to unlike that page. Now it drops down a little menu, get notifications every time. So what that means, almost like RSS feed, every time there's a new post, it'll put a notification, which I'm curious what that's going to look like from the consumer side. So I haven't seen any yet. That it's get notifications, and there's another one that says add to an interest group. And what was the other one? There's 3 choices, and I thought, I wonder, is Facebook testing this to see, will this quiet down the complaints of businesses who are going, I'm working so hard to get fans engaged, and they're still not even seeing the post. Have you seen this roll out yet?
I haven't, but I do agree. I think it's an interesting move by Facebook to maybe a show of good faith to the brands that are frustrated that they're not being seen in the newsfeed. But yes, basically it just gives the consumer the option to say, hey, I may have liked 200 pages, but there's no way I can keep up on a daily basis with 200 pages in my newsfeed. So, there's 3 pages that I really want to see all of their content every single time they post, and they can get those notifications. But no, like you, I have not seen what that's going to look like.
Yeah, it's on the Getting Geeky page. That option is there, but I don't know what it's going to show up. So I went in as Gina and hovered over the Getting Geeky like button, and I said, show me. Now I don't know, because I'm a page admin, if it's really going to show me the same notifications as it will someone else. So I'm looking for other pages. If anyone out there has a page that has that feature already enabled, let me know. I want to go. I want to test it from the other side, the consumer side, because that is an interesting move on Facebook's part. Now, will the pendulum swing to the point of we then go in and say, I want to see notifications, and then a month from now we're going to all be whining, oh my gosh, my notifications are going crazy.
Well, of course we will.
Yeah, no. So it's like, I think it just keeps us all whining about things.
Yeah.
Now, Rebecca, do you do any work with Google Plus? Has that made any difference at all yet?
Google Plus, obviously, it has been very slow I think, in terms of people making the move to Google Plus. But yes, we're on Google Plus, we're on Pinterest. So we're actively out there in multiple different locations, LinkedIn as well. I'm just a firm believer that not everybody wants to consume their information in the same place. Not everybody is comfortable with Facebook or Twitter. And we need to make sure that we are spread across all social channels, so no matter where they want to connect with us, they're able to do that. But Google Plus, I think there's huge opportunity for anybody that is actively marketing a business to get involved there, not only from an SEO standpoint, but the content is just phenomenal that you see over on Google Plus, and there's a lot less noise. Your posts are sticking around for a lot longer, so a lot more sticky in that sense, which is obviously a huge boost for marketers. And there's a different level of interaction. I've really enjoyed interacting on Google Plus. It's people that are very committed to marketing their businesses. They are there for very specific reasons, and excited to engage and interact and have a very real conversation, which, Gina, you made a great point. I think it's harder and harder for both us as businesses as well as for the consumer to have those real conversations, because there's so much coming at us through Facebook on a daily basis. And Google Plus kind of strips away that noise and allows for you to build a voice within that community. So I would strongly recommend that any business that has really worked hard at building their profile, their page on Facebook, to take a look at Google Plus. It's not going to take any more time than Facebook marketing or Twitter, but it's definitely another tool in your arsenal, and something well worth looking at, like I said, if nothing else, just for SEO purposes.
Right, and I've been doing an experiment the last 3 weeks now with LinkedIn, spending more time, and I say experiment, because the social sites that seem like they're more work for me are Google Plus and LinkedIn. Because they're just, you do have to put a little more effort and focus there, which I guess is a good thing. And so I've been doing this experiment for 3 weeks. And we're doing this with all of our clients that are using LinkedIn as part of their business-to-business strategy. Number one, we really beefed up all the profiles, so that's been helpful. Same as Google Plus is thinking SEO. Thinking how are people searching for. On LinkedIn, it's a very similar strategy. Do you have your keywords in your in your skills? Do you have your keywords in your job history? Do you have your keywords in your summary? So we beefed up the profiles, and then our strategy is not to go crazy with a bunch of groups, but to try to answer one question. You know, in LinkedIn, they have that answers section. And we've been focusing on answering one question. We started out thinking one question a day. Not always. I mean, it just takes a long time to comb through questions to find the questions that you are an expert to answer. So we are, but what I've noticed is a great return. So when we talk about ROI, you know, Google Plus and LinkedIn, they do take a little more investment of time, but I think the return is there if you spend time there. Business to consumer, I still think you've got to be on Facebook. You've got to reach out to them because that's where they're hanging out, and you've got you know, 1 billion people there. You can't argue with those numbers. So it's interesting. I don't know, how often or how much do you use LinkedIn as part of your overall strategy?
I'm on there every day, and I would totally agree with you that there's enormous value in spending time there daily, even if it is just to answer a question. And a lot of people would probably wonder, well, what's the point of going in and answering those questions? And so much of social media is just raising awareness and creating visibility for you and your business, whether you are the brand or you've got a business that you're really building. It's getting your name out there, showing people that you know what you're talking about. So choosing your niche, a question that is specific to the niche that you're in, and just consistently getting your name in front of other people. And I love that you said that you're not going out there and joining, you know, 100 groups. Yeah. You're being very strategic in the groups that you are choosing, and then getting interactive. And I think that's where, you know, maybe over the last couple of years we all moved away a little bit from that interaction on LinkedIn, because Facebook was just this beast that we were trying to manage on a daily basis, and then there was Google Plus and Twitter, and LinkedIn started to fall by the wayside. But if you're a business professional, it's an absolute must, in my opinion, that you are actively connecting with people. If you're a local business, there's so much opportunity to connect locally through LinkedIn, and LinkedIn just continues to expand. Yeah. So if they haven't been there in a while, I would definitely check into all of the changes that have happened just over the last month.
Do you have the new LinkedIn profile yet?
I do. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I think it's interesting how the new profile looks a lot more like Facebook, and it's not so much resume looking as it is profile.
Yeah, that's a great point, because, you know, I think for so long it was just viewed as your online resume, and it's so much more than that.
Yeah, now people hopefully will see it as a social network. Yeah. Not that it'll start sharing things like Facebook, it just still seems more casual and personal, but I definitely see LinkedIn kind of adding some features, trying to get people to spend more time on LinkedIn versus throwing your resume out there on LinkedIn and then never logging in again. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see, you know, what's this whole evolution. And as a business owner, the madness that we have of going, where are our customers? Where are they hanging out? How do we engage them? How do we keep them, you know? And I guess the key is, it's not like we have to be in front of them I like being out there every day, but it's not that consumers want to see you every single day. But it is one of those things of, how do you build that trusting relationship in a passive way so that when there's a need, they think of you. I don't know.
That's such a great point. Yeah, that whole idea of a passive way, because that kind of goes back to what you were saying earlier when we were talking about just putting a, you know, very short type of post with a call to action on Facebook, and your comment was many people might wonder, well, I should be giving them, you know, links to my website or to my blog post, and you don't want to beat them over the head with that sales pitch every single time you post. And so passively being in front of them, engaging them with content that excites them, whatever that might be. You definitely, you know, that's an ongoing battle to figure out what that looks like every time. And I'm sure, Gina, you feel the same way. I think I have got this beat. I have figured it out. It all changes.
And then they change it. You're going, what are you doing? I mean, the photo thing threw me for a loop. On our team call, we have a team call every week. I said, okay. You know how I literally will send our team members messages going, I saw a post go out today. There's no picture on it. Like, number one, the reason I do like putting pictures on every Facebook post, if you need to edit that post, you can click on the photo and edit. If there's no picture, you cannot edit that post once it's out there. So there's several reasons I like that. But it's just so visually beautiful. And now all of a sudden we have these pages that there's so much text, and I go, oh, that's making my head hurt. But
exactly.
It's just like, okay, what else did I say today that will change tomorrow?
Well, doesn't that also have to do with age groups? For example, the younger people probably like pictures more, whereas you may get more readers with the older groups.
Maybe.
Yeah, and I think you're absolutely right. Not all content is created equal, so it's certainly not going to speak to every age group. So if you are marketing to, say, Gen X or Gen Y, or depending on who your target audience is, that's going to play a pretty significant role in what kind of content they're interested in.
Yeah. That is interesting because it's...
Oh, and by the way, we're running on the last couple minutes of the show.
I know. It's crazy how time flies.
Yeah, it's been 40 minutes.
But yeah, I guess the key is it always changes, which keeps us busy, which keeps us employed. So that's,
It's a good thing.
Good thing. It's a good thing. So do you have any favorite tools or kind of gadgets or tools that you absolutely love?
I definitely do. A couple of them right now. I use automation and moderation. So automation, in my opinion, should not run your social media presence, but it should definitely be there to help you take care of some of those day-to-day tasks that you need to get off your plate. Your time is better spent focused on the actual interaction and engagement. And a couple tools that I love that really assist there are Buffer App. And Buffer App basically comes in, it analyzes especially with Twitter, your Twitter followers, and identifies when is the best time to tweet. When are the majority of your followers online, and when is the best time for you to tweet out? So you can really make the most of those tweets instead of just randomly tweeting out and hoping that somebody might actually see your content. So Buffer App, fantastic. I am a Mac user with my iPad and my iPhone, and love the app as well.
For Buffer, okay.
The next one is Communit, and this is a newer website. It's COM as in Mary, MUN.IT. And this is really a community builder. What I love about it is I can quickly go in there and see who are influential within my community today. Who's been actively retweeting, who's been actively engaging, and then I can respond quickly, or I can retweet some of their content. So it's a really nice way to see who those key players are within your brand or community, and be able to thank them very quickly.
That's cool. I like that. I definitely did check that one out. I've seen Buffer.
And I'll share one more because we talked so much about Google+. If you're a Chrome user, there is an app that I love, which is called DoShare, and you can actually schedule posts to go out to Google+. So a little bit of automation for Google+, just because they haven't opened up their API to very many third-party apps. It's nice to have something.
So DoShare is an add-on to Google Chrome's browser, or to the... Okay. DoShare, very cool. Oh, I haven't heard of that one.
Oh, well, you'll have fun playing around with it.
Love it. Yeah, very cool. Well, this has been awesome. Thank you so much. And definitely on Twitter, we know you are at Rebecca Radice.
Correct. And let me just spell real quickly.
Yeah, Rebekah. Radice. And where else can we find out about you and all the great things you're doing?
Absolutely. Website is, again, just my name, RebeccaRadice.com. And then would love you to take a look and like our page, which is BHG Real Estate. And it's facebook.com/BHG Real Estate.
Got it. I put it in the chat room, and I think Rick's been showing your website during the show. I saw that flashing on the screen there. Awesome.
Excellent.
Thank you so much, and thank you everyone in the chat room, and those of you who never logged in the chat room, I see you. But thanks for tuning in.
Thank you, Gina. Thank you, Rick.
Thank you, Rebecca, and thanks to all of you, and we'll see you next week on SchreckTeck. Have a good one, everyone.
Bye, everyone. I was waiting for the cue from